Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks. Today we're talking Saturday, March 29th. Happy Saturday, everybody. The Splash Zone is back in your life. I'm going to have 5 NBA player prop picks for you guys to lock in for tonight's NBA betting slate. 3 of the 5 are plus money bangers because, of course, that is how we do things here. They're all in the first quarter as well. But I have some non-first quarter leans for you guys to also lock in. So if you're not able to bet in the first quarter, I got some non-first quarter stuff for you guys to lock in. But before we can get into any of that nonsense, we got to do a recap from yesterday, which was a pretty frustrating day overall. We were down 1 unit yesterday. We were able to cash out Christian Braun over 3.5 first quarter points. Thank you for that. We lost Jordan Hawkins 5+ points, and we lost Anthony Edwards 30+ points. So I dove into the non-first quarter market, and I actually need to change this one because that was not a first quarter play. So I dove into the non-first quarter market, didn't cash that one out. The Jordan Hawkins play, he didn't take a single shot in the first quarter. That might have been the worst bet of all time. And then, of course, he scored 5 points in the second quarter. But you live by the first quarter, you die by the first quarter. Anthony Edwards, this one was dead at halftime. He got hurt. He did play the second half, but he got hurt in the first half, took a wicked shot to the face, only had 3 points at halftime. And then he blew up, scored 17 points in the second half, but obviously didn't come close to cashing this one out for us. So I'm definitely not saying that was a bad beat. Of course not. It was just dead at halftime. So that brings our profit on the year up 28.84 units on the season, up about just over 5% ROI. You know, it's not the most amazing season anybody's ever had in the history of the universe, but we're still up just about 30 units and we're still up over 5% ROI. So when you kind of take a step back, that part in and of itself isn't terrible. It felt like a pretty gross year. Just as the season has gone on, it felt like every time we started to catch a heater, we've had days like we've had the last 2 days where we've been down a little bit, about 5 units, a little bit less than 5 units over the last 2 days. The 3 days up to that, we were up 8 units. And that's just kind of the seesaw that this season has been. Would love if we could end the year on a hot streak. And we'll see. So we'll get into today's bangers. I have up Props Madness, my favorite NBA betting tool. Check out Props Madness if you're new to my channel or you haven't checked them out yet. I put a link in the description of the video as well as the pinned comment. So, play number 1, I do have a play here in this Kings versus Magic game. I'm going with KCP, a quiet first quarter King over 2.5 first quarter points. So we're basically asking him to make a 3-pointer in the first quarter. It's plus 100 odds, basically anywhere you can bet it. 365 ESPN Bet, Hard Rock, even minus 110 at Flip. If for whatever reason you can't use those 3 books, I would take it at minus 110. He's not quite like a KP, Kristaps Porzingis, first quarter King, but on the year, he's gone over and over half his games, just about 55%. So right off the bat, 55% hit rate for even money is slightly positive EV. Obviously, a ton more goes into that, but just to kind of give you guys a lay of the land. And, it was a little bit of a slower start to the year. You look at his last 50-some games, up to a 58% hit rate in his last 52 games. And it's really his last 12, I think is what it is. Yeah, his last 12, he's been on fire. 10 of his last 12 games, scoring 3 or more points in the first quarter, actually averaging 4 points in the first quarter, so 1 point above what we need him to get. Now, he's either scoring 3 or he's not scoring at all. So this isn't one of those situations where like, oh, just take a safer over 1.5. Doesn't really make any sense. He's either making a 3-pointer in another bucket or he's not scoring at all. Like in this, didn't even take a shot in this first quarter, took 2 in this one, missed both. So we kind of take our chances with that. But generally, they look for KCP to shoot in the first quarter. It was actually the same way with the Nuggets. And if I had really dove into the first quarter market last year, I would have noticed that. And I probably would have been on him earlier this year, but that's okay. Matchup is really, really good. 9 of 15 guys with his scoring profile have gone over. This is per Props Madness, which just groups similar players together. They do it for points, rebounds, and assists. So they do it for all 3, which is super, super helpful. Again, 9 of 15 to the over. It's been 3 straight, and it's been, I guess, a little more hit or miss since the All-Star break. It's like 3 straight and then 3 straight miss prior to that. But you look at the matchup here, the Kings allow the most, number 1, 30th points per game in terms of to spot up shooters. That's where the majority of KCP's points come from. And then also slightly gets to the line a little bit, and they're the 10th worst defense, meaning they foul at the 10th highest rate. And the biggest thing here, 29th in terms of points allowed via the above the break 3-pointer. These are majority catch and shoot. The Kings are a ball pressure type of offense. So whoever has the ball in their hands, they pressure it to try to get themselves out. That's why they give up so many points to spot up shooters. And the majority of these above the break 3-point attempts and points that they allow is from a catch and shoot opportunity, which is perfect for KCP. So like the pivot, if you can't bet KCP first quarter points, his full game isn't bad either at 8.5. At that point, you're almost better taking his 3-pointers over 2.5 or over 1.5 for plus 130. Because if he's scoring 9 points, more often than not, he's also making 2 3-pointers. So the pivot would actually be his threes, which I actually don't hate this at all at plus 130. I think that's a really, really good look, him to make 2 3-pointers. And then it would be Paolo assists, which is grossly juiced over 4.5, or even Franz assists as well, which is a little bit better, 4.5, obviously with the lower hit rate. But of the non-first quarter plays, my favorite one by far is the KCP 3-pointer. So lock that in. Next up, my next play here, actually I have 2 in this game, Mavericks versus Bulls. Number 1, give me Vooch, 3.5 first quarter points, minus 115 odds at Bet365. Getting this at 4.5 is at 3.5 is an absolute gift. He does land on 4 a decent amount. That is somewhat of a key number for him, landing exactly on that 4 number. Now, if you wanted to be bold, and I did this with a couple guys today, but not Vooch specifically, you could go over 4.5 for plus 160 odds. So normally a different Matt would have taken that, but I do think that getting the 4 number is important. I mean, you just look at the entire season for Vooch. He scored 4 or more points in like 70, almost 75% of his games, 73.8. You bumped it up to 4.5. It's still really good. Goes down about 12%. And then you look even recently, we want to go 4.5. You look even recently, his last 7 games, or no, his last 8 games, it's so basically what I'm looking at here, and I should tell you why I filtered that. So he got hurt this game, February 22nd, he got hurt. His first game back, he only played 6 minutes in the first quarter. That's an outlier. He normally plays between 7 and 9 minutes in the first quarter. So you take out his first game back, it's over in 6 of 8. And twice he scored exactly 4 points on 2 buckets. Now he took 5 in this game, only made 2 of them. 2 of them were 3-pointers, so that one was close. And even in the games he missed, I mean, scored 3 points, missed a free throw. You expect your guys to make your free throws. This one here made both his free throws, went 0 of 3 from the field. So you kind of, even the games that he misses, you can kind of accept in terms of how he goes about doing that. And the matchup is good. And I get that Anthony Davis is back, but it's still a good matchup against the Mavericks. As you can see, 6 of 11 guys with his scoring profile have gone over. They allow the 3rd most points in the paint in the entire NBA. And again, I get that Anthony Davis is back. Paint points isn't always the rim protector. It's how good is your perimeter defense. And their perimeter defense is not good at this point with all the guys they have injured. So Vooch, 4 points in the first quarter, minus 115 odds at Bet365. I absolutely love. In the same game, and this is one where I did opt to take a pumped up number. I took Anthony Davis 7+ first quarter points, plus 145 odds at Bet365. So my options were, should I bet over 5.5 at minus 135, or should I bet 7+ for plus 145? It was a pretty obvious answer. So that's what I ended up doing here. As you can see right here, 7+ points, plus 145 odds. So whenever, like, Props Madness is a great tool, but they don't show alternate odds. They only show what the book is giving you their main line at, which is why you see FanDuel at plus 116 and then these other books at 5.5. So my Tails account, I like showing it because it actually shows you the bet slip. So this is what I bet. I put a unit on it. That's $100 as a unit for me. 7+ points, plus 145. So Anthony Davis, since he's been on the Mavericks, he's played 3 games. Only over in one of those 3. Now, the one game he went over, he just smoked it with 14 points in the first quarter, took 8 shots. That was amazing. Now, he's missed it in the 2 games since he came back from injury, but I'm actually not scared off of that at all. Number 1, his first game back after missing 6-7 weeks, he played 8 minutes in the first quarter. He took 4 shots. He made 3 of them, which is actually pretty good. Now, he missed the 1 3-pointer, but taking 4 shots in your first game back after a while off is good. Now, he had a rough game here against the Magic. Magic are a way, way tougher defense, and we're going to get into that. And he still took 6 shots, took 2 3-pointers, and he missed both of his free throws. So, like, that's a usage rate that's very high in the first quarter. Taking 6 shots and then also getting fouled. He just couldn't make anything. That's okay. Like, I can accept volume. I can accept poor shooting percentages if the volume is there for a guy like Anthony Davis, who, if you heard me say this before, but positive regression is coming for him. I also like the fact that last game he played 29 minutes. So his minutes aren't really going to be impacted at all. So this is a play. I would take his over point prop. I would take his over full game. I like this one a lot. Him playing 29 minutes, like he took 19 shots. If he's taking 19 shots, more often than not, he's going to go over 21 and a half, 22 and a half, whatever the number may be. Again, my official play is the first quarter. And the matchup. The matchup is literally as good as it gets. 7 of 7 players, that is a 100% hit rate, have hit their point prop over against the Chicago Bulls. It's 2 since the All-Star break. Şengün went over. Bam Adebayo went over against the Chicago Bulls. You want to go by position. So instead of looking at guys similar to AD, you just look at the center position. 8 of 15 to the over. 3 straight have hit. And Jackson Hayes, 10 points, 19 points, just smoking the over against the Chicago Bulls. You want to know why? They cannot guard the rim. They have the worst rim protection in the entire NBA. And this is both rim protection and perimeter defense. They literally are 30 out of 30 in terms of points allowed in the restricted area. That's where 50% of Anthony Davis's points come from. So I don't recommend taking minus 135 odds. If you wanted to be safer, you could do that. Take the over 5.5. That does change your hit rate in the 3 games with the Mavericks, 2 of 3 instead of 1 of 3. But you look at the entire season, the 6.5 number, and we're just going to limit him to 7 to 10 minutes in the first quarter because that's probably what he's going to play. It's a 56% hit rate playing between those 2 numbers, and that is missed, including missing it in 3 straight. But AD is generally a fast starter, and I think that the ideal rotation for Anthony Davis is closer to this 11 minutes in the first quarter that he played in his first game with the Mavericks. So it's 2 games playing 7 and 8 as he's kind of getting himself reacquainted. In this game where he only played 7, again, he shot horribly, and he also got banged up in the first quarter, but his minutes were there for the entire game, like went from 27 to 29. So 80, 2 thumbs up on the 7+ points number. That is our third play. And our last 2 are going to be obvious. Anybody that knows the first quarter Kings, it's Kristaps Porzingis. It's over 5.5 first quarter points. Now you actually get a better price than what I got. I locked this in at minus 115. You can now get it at minus 110. I don't understand why the numbers are going the opposite direction. It's probably because the Celtics have all of their guys healthy. I don't really care. You give them Tatum, Brown, White, and Holiday. It's 21 games this year. He's gone over in 13 of those 21 games, but he's been much better recently. Like he started going on a first quarter hot streak. Right around here, it's over in 11 of his last 14 games with all 4 of these guys healthy. And now they might all not play. I guess there's no injury status, so they all probably will play. I guess I was thinking of Tatum, but he played last game with that ankle sprain, so he's good to go. So it's over in 11 of his last 14 games with all these guys healthy. He's just a fast starter. He's been a fast starter last year. It's been the case this year. We take out these filters. He's been phenomenal. He missed a bunch of time with an illness. Since he came back, he's gone over this number in 3 of his 5 games. And even the games he missed, 2 of 4, 0 of 2 from deep. You're expecting a little bit, at least to make one of those 3-pointers. Also got an and one, missed that free throw. And in this game, 1 of 4 from the field, 0 of 4 from deep, but he did get to the line. So even the games that he misses, the volume is there. And you go back, he had this obscene stretch starting right here where it's over 19 of 24 games. And some of the games he misses, 5 points. This one you would hope for better volume. Only took two shots and got to the line. So you're hoping for better volume there. But I love this one for Kristaps Porzingis. I liked it at minus 115. I like it a lot better at minus 110. As you can see, I got this at minus 115, as you can see right here. And unfortunately, Tails only lets me send out 1 screenshot. So I ended up sending the KCP one as opposed to the Porzingis. But I promise I'm not lying about getting worse odds. Now, I will say you could get pretty decent odds for him to score 7 points in the first quarter on Bet365. They're giving you plus 140 for him to score 7 points. Kind of similar to Vooch, that 6 is somewhat of a key number, 3 straight games on 6. Now, he also does go over 6 a lot as well, but with all 4 of the guys healthy, if JB or Tatum were missing, I might go the 7+ for plus money, but I'm good with just taking it at the 5.5, especially considering you're getting minus 110 odds as opposed to minus 115. And then the last pick, our 5th and final pick of the video, and then I'll start giving you guys some leans. Who else? It's Luka Doncic over. It's over, actually 10+. I took Luka 10+ first quarter points. This was at plus, let me be very clear, plus 140 odds at Bet365. So it's kind of similar logic to the Anthony Davis one. If you wanted to be safe, you could take him over 8.5 at minus 110 odds. I thought the way better value was on the over 9.5 number. So that's where I went. You look at his games with the Lakers. He's gone over 9.5, so 10+, in 11 of 17 games. Twice he landed on exactly 9. So if you're telling me like 2 out of 17 games landing on exactly 9 and you're getting plus 140 versus minus 110 odds, like you're getting 50 cents of juice better, I think that makes a lot of sense. And even in the games where he scored 9 points, took 7 shots, went 1 of 4 from deep, got to the line as well. Took 6 shots. Now, he went 3 of 4 from deep, so he just couldn't make a non-3-pointer in this one. And then last game, took 6 shots, only made 2 of them, 1 of 3 from deep, and he also got to the line. Like, the volume that Luka puts up in the first quarter, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And then even in games specifically with LeBron, again, I'm taking out these first 3 games because he played limited minutes, and it was his first 3 games since missing a bunch of time with the calf injury. So you take out those 3 games. It's over in 7 of 12 games with LeBron, almost a 60% hit rate, averaging 11 points per game in the first quarter. And again, twice he landed on exactly 9 points. So I think going to the 10-plus number makes a lot of sense. Now, on paper, this is a tough matchup against the Grizzlies. The reason why I say on paper is because their defense has been shite, to pardon my French, been very bad since the last couple months. They just fired their head coach, so we don't know what the hell their defense is going to look like. If you go off of the entire season, the Grizzlies' point of emphasis on defense is to not let themselves get beat by number 1 options. That's why you see only 3 of 12 players with Luka's playmaking style have hit their over. What we also see is that Harden just put up a 30-burger against them. We go since by position, which is kind of looking at just like the kind of hybrid forward guard position. It looks like only 5 of 12 to the over, but it also looks like 2 of 3 since the All-Star break, which is when their defense started falling off a cliff. You look at play types and stuff, it looks a little bit better. They give up a lot of points to the pick and roll ball handler. Now, this is admittedly the secondary pick and roll ball handler. So like if the Grizzlies were playing their normal style of defense and they hadn't just fired their head coach, this would be an Austin Reeves over point prop kind of day. This is what I would look at, Austin Reeves over his points. But we don't know what their defense is going to look like. They also foul at a super high rate. That doesn't matter who, if it's a primary or secondary option, they foul a lot. 4th most points per game at the free throw line. They don't allow anything via ISO, that's fine. Transition, 3rd worst. Spot up, 7th worst. Off screen, 7th worst, or I guess 8th worst and 7th worst. So just a bad defense in general, as you can see by all the green on the screen here. And I get this was with a different team, but when he was on the Mavericks, he put up 37 points against the Grizzlies, put up 12 points in the first quarter. So like Luka, high usage guy, was able to get it done. I said Mavericks. I meant to say Grizzlies. Or no, yeah, when he was on the Mavericks against the Grizzlies. There we go. So yeah, Luka, 10-plus points, plus 140 odds at Bet365. I really, really like. That's our 5th and final pick of the video. A couple leans for you guys to lock in before we get out of here. I will stick in this same game. I actually like the full game assists over for Luka. Now, it's a pretty gross over 7.5. So I would take the over 8.5, which you can get for plus money at a couple places. It's kind of a fade of recent results. I mean, you look at his last 5 games, it's actually the 8.5 number, it's under in all 5. But you look at the potentials. 12, so we're hoping for better than that. 11, we're hoping for better than that. 12, and then his last game, 16. Like, he started getting a little bit more potential assist. It's a good assist matchup for him. Again, we don't really know what this Grizzlies team is going to look like, but 6 of 11 guys have hit their assist prop over against the Grizzlies. And I like the fact that it's 3 of 3 since the All-Star break. And these are guys similar to Luka. So if they play a similar style of defense, Luka could go over both. Another play that I like, LeBron on his rebounds plus assists or just his rebounds is a pretty good look. It's 7.5 at minus 115 odds. He's generally been pretty good doing all the extra stuff with Luka. So basically he lets Luka, again, take out these first 3 games. He lets Luka cook. He does everything else. So 8 of 12 to the over since their first 3 games together when Luka started playing normal allotment of minutes. It's a decent, kind of not so great matchup, but like we don't really know. It's 2 of 3 since the All-Star break. 6 of 13 isn't amazing, but it's not anything that would scare me off either. His first quarter rebounds, unfortunately, is no longer bettable. We got this at minus 135. It's now minus 170. He has yet to have a game where he didn't hit it with Luka, except for one of the first 3 when, again, the minutes were a little bit wonky. Unfortunately, I'm not touching minus 170. You want to put this in a parlay, like with his first quarter assists, which is a 10 of 15 hit rate. You could do that. You could parlay these 2 together. I didn't bet that, but that is a way I would go. Another look that I like, if I can refresh my memory here. Yes, in this Pacers versus Thunder game, couple plays that I like. Number 1, Halliburton. His under points is a smash play against the Thunder. Now, This opened up at 19.5. Unfortunately, is now down to 17.5, or you can get a pretty juiced under 18.5. Honestly, this is what I would take. Under 18.5, minus 120 odds. It's just the worst matchup you can think of. The Thunder have really good guard defenders in Dort and Alex Caruso. I almost said Chris Caruso. I don't think that's a real person. And Alex Caruso. They allow almost nothing to the pick and roll ball handler, nothing in transition. Now, sure, spot up and free throws. They're a little bit below average because they give up nothing mostly to the pick and roll ball handler into isolation. But for number one guards like Halliburton, especially Halliburton, who isn't always great at getting his own shot, it's a tough matchup. I mean, 1 of 8 to the over. The only one that hit was Darius Garland, and he scored 20 points on an over-under of 19.5. The first time these two teams played, he put up 4 points. Played 35 minutes, put up 4 points. I also like his assists over. He's been on an absolute assist tear. Finally had his first game without getting 10 assists since the end of February. But the assists are a much better matchup, kind of for similar logic why the points are such a tough matchup. Gets the ball out of his hands. And I think after having an obscene amount of games in a row where he scored or he got 10 assists, I like this as kind of a fade of recent results. I also like... where is it? It's Shea and his points in this one. I don't know how to best read the Thunder when they have all their guys healthy, because Shea in the first quarter with both Chet and Holmgren isn't nearly as good. It's 6 of 21 to the over. Now, last game, I didn't want to bet his first quarter point prop over, and he hit. So, shows what I know. What I do know is that the Pacers' style of defense doesn't send help. They purposefully will let themselves get cooked one-on-one to not send help. So maybe it's an assist under for SGA. That's probably where I would go. Actually, now that I think about it, it's the assist under for SGA. We do see 9 of 15 to the over, so it's not quite as good of a matchup, or I should say as bad of a matchup as it was last year when it was 4 of 14 to the under. But I do think that the style of defense kind of lends itself. Now, he did hit the over the first time these two teams played. He did have 15 potential assists. Chet didn't play in that game. Caruso didn't play in that game. So it's a little bit wishy-washy. It's definitely not a smash play on SGA. It's probably more of a stay away than anything. Even if I wasn't just looking at the first quarter market, I'd probably stay away on SGA. And then the Heat 76ers, Justin Edwards could go right back to his first quarter point prop. He's hit it in 3 straight. You can get over 4.5 for plus 118 odds. The reason why I didn't bet it was because the Heat have a good defense at stopping number one options. Now, is that Quentin Grimes? Do we take his first quarter point prop under or his full game under? And then that leaves Justin Edwards as someone to pick up the scraps. That's possible. Justin Edwards has been really good in the first quarter recently. 8 of his last 12 games, he's gone over 4.5. Now, he did land on 5 a couple times exactly, but look at the volume. 1 of 3. Well, I guess only 4 shots isn't great. I was thinking of this one. 7 shots in the first. 5 shots got to the line. 5 shots got to the line. 5 shots. Then these are a little bit scarier. But you could go Justin Edwards over 4.5 first quarter points. I like the other ones better, which is why I didn't bet it. I also would take his full game over as well. That's over in 7 of 12. That's still pretty good. But that's all we got. So that's all we got. 5 official bangers plus some leans for you guys to lock in. Just to recap, our 5 official bets here is Nikola Vucevic over 3.5 first quarter points. It's KP, Kristaps Porzingis over 5.5 first quarter points. KCP over 2.5, Luka 10 plus, and Anthony Davis 10 plus. We're risking 5.3 units to profit 5.85 units. We went 5-0. I guess that was Wednesday. We went 5-0. Let's go 5-0 again on this Saturday. That would be amazing. But that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out Props Madness. I put a link to that in the description of the video. Check out my Tails account. I put a link to that in the description of the video as well. And I kind of walked you through how my Tails works. It's just where I send out plays early. So like these, I all send out before I hit record, because unfortunately, by the time I record, by the time I edit, and by the time I post, the odds change. And my only really way to combat that, if I wanted to give out plays on YouTube, was to come up with some sort of situation where I send them out early. It's only $10 a month. If you guys are interested, check that out. If you're not interested, no problem. I won't be offended. But that's all we got. Make sure to bet responsibly and have a good one.